Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today I'm going to rake in my nurse grass seed all along the side of this hill and possibly the hill back here, but there's other stuff that needs to be raked in as well. Well, not necessarily raked in, just raked up. This is where the snow from the driveway was plowed and piled up last year or last winter, and you could see it's all uneven from the gravel that was scraped up, so I got to flatten that out as well. Actually, this is going to be the most straightforward part of the whole job. All I got to do here, I'm going to toss the seed first, then go back and lightly rake it in. And then this whole area is going to be sprayed with generic tenacity, which is mesotrione. I got to stop the foxtail from growing in this area. If you remember last year, I burned this area because there was just huge foxtail growing in here. Once you get the foxtail stopped, once you get a nice thick regular grass growing, the foxtail will pretty much stop on its own. It can't grow with all of that shade and competition. Then I won't have to do anything here. But until that time, I got to get something started here besides foxtail, because they dump zillions of seeds, and that's washing down into the Oak Savanna project here, and I don't want that. Also, while I'm here, and hopefully this works well, I need to rake this stuff up. This has to be burned. It can't be burned right next to the propane tank, and I got to get this burned as well, and I'm real close to the greenhouse here. So I may have to rake all of this stuff out of here, put it in the back of the gator, and move it over to one of the piles over that way and burn it there, which seems like a huge amount of work, and I don't want to do a huge amount of work, but we'll see how it goes. I'll try raking this stuff and see if this pulls out easy. Yeah, it pulls out super easy, so I may not even have to rake. I might be able to just go in and grab a handful, put it in the back of the gator. I'm going to be planting this again this year with zinnias, and this is pretty much the same as the side of that hill. This was planted with the nurse grass, again perennial rye, and the foxtail just took over, which foxtail tends to do. You can see, I believe this is perennial rye in here, so I need to rake this out of here. This is just going to have a bazillion foxtail seeds in it, so I will have to spray tenacity on this as well, just this year, I think. Once the other grass is started, the foxtail will pretty much go away. You'll get a plant here and there, and you can just yank it by hand, and then sooner or later, you just won't have it at all. So I guess I'll start in this area, and then work my way to that other hill right there, and hopefully get this done today. All right, that was by far the hardest part. Now, right about here is where the grass is going to stop. This is going to be zinnias again. We'll plant something in the toilet again, I think. Possibly not. We might move that toilet somewhere else and then just have the zinnias go all the way up to the tank. Yeah, we'll probably move this. But at any rate, the grass line is going to be right through here. Zinnias, grass, and I tried doing that last year, but I was unaware of tenacity at the time, and that would have stopped all this foxtail from taking over. So what I need to do is rake in my nurse grass seed, which is perennial rye. Let me show you that. Like all rye seed, it's fairly big and it will grow in the shade fairly well. Not that we have a lot of shade here. Oh, really cheap bag. All right, that is the rye seed. So hopefully this is enough. I think this was only 3 pounds. I need to plant rye here. Yeah, that's plenty. And over here. Yeah, all of this stuff is going to go into the ground, or it's going to be used for something within the next couple days. We have just a little window here, and then it's going to rain for like 4 days. So I'm going to rake perennial rye in here as well. I was going to plant blue grama here, but we may build a building here later this year, and I don't want to waste blue grama seed on something that is going to get dozed up. So perennial rye here again, and then probably 3 days, like the last day of rain, I'm going to come in here and spray the tenacity, which will stop the foxtail from coming up, and it'll kill any foxtail or weeds that are growing right now. With tenacity, you have to spray it again in 30 days, so I'll spray this area and that area, along with some areas through here. I'll do that in, like I said, 3 or 4 days, right before the last of the rain, so that it gets pushed into the ground. But I don't want to do it right before the beginning of 4 days of rain and have it wash too far in. So the next step is to get the rye seed down, then I'll rake it lightly, then that'll be it for the nurse grass for this year. All right, I'm going to go have a quick lunch, and then I'll be back, and we'll get this seeded and raked in. Okay, now for the easy part. All I got to do is kind of evenly broadcast all of these seeds in this area and right over the side of the hill, lightly rake them in, and then I'll kind of step it down, and then we'll let the rain do its job. Okay. I want a real good coverage of seed, and I'd like to not run out, but I was not aware that this was such a big area. Otherwise I would have got a little more seed. I probably got enough. It looks like about half of the perennial rye took last year, and the rest was this foxtail. Just tons of foxtail in here. I burned this last year, which makes it a lot easier to get in here and seed. And again, I would rather plant blue grama here, but, or is it gamma? I think it's gamma. Just sounds funny. I would rather plant that here, because that's what's going to be along this upper edge, blue gamma and buffalo grass, which are both shorter native grasses. That way it'll be a lot easier when we go to burn. If the wind is coming in the right directions, you burn that short grass first, and then you have a big buffer zone around your home or any other outbuildings. Yeah, I should have plenty of seed. Just got this little patch here, and then I'll move to the back. Or not back, it's actually the front. And again, with this stuff, I'm going to spray tenacity on this very shortly. Probably, I'm going to try to get out here, like I said, the last day of the rain. If it's going to like rain in the afternoon, I want to try to get out so it gets a bit of rain and it gets washed into the soil. But I don't want it to have 4 days of rain, if you know what I'm saying. All right, that should do that. Now, look at this area. This area is just loaded with hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of foxtail seeds. But tenacity, once I spray the tenacity, it'll kill any foxtail that's growing, and it'll stop any foxtail that wants to sprout for up to 30 days. And it will not kill the perennial rye. So this should be a whole lot better this year than it was last year. Last year I just seeded and then hoped for the best. And I did not get the best. Okay, that's going to wrap it up. That last bit of seed was just what was left in the bag. The rest of it is raked in and ready to go. Now, the day after tomorrow, we have 4 days of rain. Like I said, I'm going to try in the middle of that somewhere to spray this with mesotrione, which will get washed into the soil, and that'll keep foxtail, crabgrass, barnyard grass, a bunch of other weed grasses. It'll keep it from growing, and it'll kill any that are already growing. So if you want to see me mixing and spraying that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.